coming to you live here from Guyana Amazonian Park, right next to the border of Brazil here in sunny France. We are here today with the most recent ESL Open Cup EU, and if you think it's too early for EU, you're wrong.
Maybe you're just too late.
Exactly. I am your host, Yaku of the Zaku, and with me today is el golpeador canguro que también es el mascador de nueces. Like, underscore VIP. How we doing, like?
What's up, Yaku? What's up, everyone? As you said, we are here at a very momentous occasion, Yaku, because for the first time, I believe, we are casting ESL Open Cup EU.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The map checks out there.
We've never cast. It's always at the worst possible time. It starts at like 4 a.m. here in Australia, or like 5 a.m. It's actually just pure degen hours, and we have had opportunities. I remember there was like a week or two where I look over at the clock and I'm like, "Correct, we could." I'm like, we could.
Then she tells you to go to bed.
We could cast today, and she was like, "You're crazy, Poppy. You're hallucinating." And then I go to bed. But Sag. So yeah, we have been unable to
cry yourself to sleep. At that point,
we've never been able to cast this live. Maybe one day we will, if we ever get to that point. But I know that there is a lot of live coverage for ESL EU. It is the most covered out of all the regions. It has the most casters, but it's also at a really bad time. So there is reason for us to try our hand at casting it ourselves, and having it at a more sane hour.
Yeah, now that we are actually, are actually able to commit ourselves a bit more to some of these replay casts, and yeah, we were planning on doing a replay cast of all regions regardless this week, because it is a little bit of a special week of the ESL Open Cups, but we thought it fitting to start with EU since it's a region that we've never actually casted before, at least in the Open Cups.
Exactly. Like, we've casted European players in the past, even on a weekly basis, especially with the OSC King of the Hills. But at the moment, we have a little bit more free time as well. WTL is coming to an end. The OSC circuit is coming to an end as well, like at least for the year, and it's going to be coming back, sometime January or February, right? So we don't have our Sparkling Tuna Cup, so we have some time. And you may think, oh, that means you can spend time with your families for the holidays. No.
This is your family. This is your family.
We are family. Oh, God. So yes, if you have your free time during this period, during these couple of days, then we have got you covered with some high quality top tier StarCraft.
Indeed, we do. And it's even the more high quality this week. Or I should say, it's even more wild this week because it's a completely new patch.
Yeah, for those wondering, ESL Open Cup, the 155th edition of the ESL Open Cups, are all mandatory to be played on a special mod, on a balance patch mod. Of course, the new patch isn't live yet. It won't be live for, I imagine, a couple of weeks. But before that happens, ESL, they wanted to get ahead of it. They wanted to get players to experience it, to maybe find any bugs, or maybe find that maybe some changes aren't needed, or maybe they go too far or not far enough, just basically PTR testers.
Exactly. They're the beta testers.
They are the hamsters. Yes.
They're running the wheel.
Oh boy, and we are here to watch them run that wheel. Turn that. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, turn that wheel. As we have our first series here of the day, and it's gonna be a bit of a PvZ.
Yeah, pretty interesting one. Now, I made a bit of a mistake here. Now, !B in the chat will give you the bracket, but again, this is a replay cast, so spoil yourself at your own risk. All the scores have been updated over on Liquipedia, so if you want to go in blind, don't make the same mistake I did.
Exactly. Just take the glasses off, close your eyes, and we're all gonna jump into this together. And this is pretty exciting because we have casted these two in the past. We've casted plenty of the Polski boys going at each other. It's pretty interesting that they happen to run across each other again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a small place.
Well, yeah, but this isn't just a Polish tournament, okay? It's open to all of Europa, so you know. Yeah, it's nice.
No, he's in Taiwan. Anyway, we are going to be kicking off this best of 3 series now here on Cosmic Sapphire in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, starting all the way in that bottom right-hand corner. We have a red Protoss player coming down from that land of Poland you were talking about. He is representing Team Liquid, MaNa.
Hey! We're no longer black. Spawning in the top left-hand corner. Look, the stream may have been a black screen, but it's all fixed. It's all good. In the top left-hand corner of Cosmic Sapphire, we have his opponent, the Polish Zerg player representing CSO Esports. It is Trifax. It's okay. Don't worry about it, Yaku. Don't worry about it.
Oh, okay.
Oh
I
my!
was blind for a second. I didn't know what was going on.
So
but I could feel the presence of MaNa.
Exactly. We could
It's
feel.
time to do an intro.
We could feel him inside us, and I want to give a massive shout out as well to Baby Links. Thank you so much for the raid. Hope you enjoyed your ladder session. Hope you enjoyed your stream. For those that are just tuning in, we are covering ESL Open Cup Europe 155.
Yeah. It's not too late. Nor is it too early for an EU Cup.
We are right.
This is the time when all of them are awake.
Yeah, exactly. It's beautiful, puppy. It's beautiful. And I guess now is a decent opportunity. I mean, usually we talk about the players, and to be fair, there is a lot to be said about these players, but at the same time, this is on the new would-be patch. The changes have been implemented, and some of those changes will affect this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, every single race got reworked a little bit, but in particular, the one I'm looking at for the ZVP matchup is this shield battery nerf that's coming down. That, I think, is going to encourage so much more aggressive playstyles coming from Zerg.
Oh my god, it's going to be insane. I mean, I'm sure everyone is looking forward to it. Even the Protoss players are going to be looking forward to it. Even for PvP, I should say. For those wondering, the shield battery recharge was nerfed, which means I believe the efficiency at which the overcharge does heal up units is far lower than before. So in the past, when you saw an overcharge popped and when you saw nothing die, well, now some things are gonna die.
Yeah.
Crazy.
One thing might actually die. You don't have to target on the shield battery anymore. You probably should. You probably should still target down the shield battery, but now you can just ape in instead. So we'll see if that comes. We'll see if that comes into play. Yeah, Hydra enjoyers are gonna have a very fun time in CVP now.
Exactly. There are a bunch of changes to Zerg. There's a bunch of changes to Skytoss as well. But before we get too ahead of ourselves, we do see that MaNa did open up Robo first.
Yeah, interestingly enough, kind of diverting a little bit from the established meta of opening up with a Stargate now. I have to wonder now. The patch was on the PTR for a while before ESL decided to implement this rule, so I have to wonder if MaNa was one of these players who was, kind of testing things out. I know a lot of the pro players were getting together, kind of testing things and discussing some of the changes as well.
That's true. I know a lot of the pro players that are streamers did all just jump on it immediately and start streaming. I think MaNa may have been one of those players because he does, he is live quite often on his Twitch channel. So I wonder if he has a little bit more experience. So far, this is a build that we all kind of know and love. In a way, we do see a Disruptor on the way coming out soon, but Trifax, he looks like he's done droning, mate.
That's a lot of lings being built up right now. And a Roach Warren pretty much immediately following that.
Yeah, exactly. Lings come out just in time to kind of avert disaster here. The Adepts aren't going to be able to deal too much, if any, damage. We do see droning behind this. So Trifax isn't by any means going all in. He is going for a Roach Warren. It does seem to be a safety Roach Warren more than anything, especially now that the opener has been confirmed, and he does confirm that it is a Robo.
Yeah, he hasn't quite been able to get into the main base just yet. He doesn't know the extent of this Robo opening, but regardless, having a lot of Lings, having a couple of Roaches is going to be very useful for Adepts, Disruptors, anything like MaNa can throw at him.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried that right now Trifax is being metagamed. He hasn't sent an Overlord in at all. He hasn't had the opportunity to, and I think a lot of that is just because he assumed it was going to be a Stargate opener, and he maybe didn't want to lose any Overlords inefficiently, like he didn't want to, lose them needlessly, but as a result, he's in the dark, and for all he knows, it's, you know, a Twilight Council follow-up with Glaive Adepts or a Gateway follow-up instead. I don't know if he's really expecting these Disruptors. Oh!
He definitely is not, and he will pay the price for that with one Queen and a couple of drones, not too many of them.
Yeah, one drone does go down alongside that Queen. We do see a little bit of a Link counterattack here, but the wall as well. We have a sentry behind this. Fun fact, the sentry was also changed. It does actually warp in faster compared to before, so reactively, to make up for the fact that we have a weaker shield battery, we will have stronger sentries.
Oh, I like the idea of that. I'm sure MaNa does as well here.
Oh yeah, exactly. So the wall is indeed a wall across the map. You know, another Queen gets picked up with those Novas. So far, Trifax has done a great job at keeping his workers alive. And he does finally confirm that, of course, Groundhouse is going to be behind this. And not just that, a Colossus is already out as well.
Yeah, these Lings aren't really going to accomplish too much from here on out.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to be able to pick away at this army. We have Roaches on the way as well. We need a little bit more time to morph in some Ravagers to really slow this down to help deal with these force fields. Bearing in mind that Ravagers also in this patch do take a little bit longer to morph in.
That they do, don't they? Basically every key unit has been modified in some strange way. Graphics are coming in with a little bit of a surround, but that is a juicy Nova.
Oh my god, basically every single Ravager gets taken out. We have a couple remaining here. They are morphed in, and it looks like these reinforcing Ravagers are going to be enough to force this back.
Just barely, yeah.
Oh boy. Also, go on.
Yes, I was going to say on the plus side here for Trifax, you know, he hasn't taken much economic damage yet, but losing these Queens definitely hurts.
Ooh. Another Nova connects as well. The force fields are making short work of this entire army. Queens are falling left and right. Trifax, all he has to do is hold on. His worker count is looking half decent. He is actually going for a counterattack in the midst of all of this. I love the way that he's making use of these Lings. Going to be forcing MaNa even more all in.
They're going to dive right into that third base mineral line. Go straight for that shield battery. While on the other side of the map, this assault is still going on. Trifax is doing the best he can to keep his units alive. And he's keeping them alive.
He is, but again, the lack of creep set is really hurting him. He's having a hard time diving on top of his army. He's going to be going in once again, but the Nova goes off.
Yeah, the target firing from Trifax has been pretty good on top of this Colossus, but just all of the zoning potential these Disruptors give MaNa is really hurting him.
Yeah, at the same time, it looks like we have Adepts warping in towards the natural, going in towards the main base as well. This is pulling Trifax apart, and that means that now the third base is vulnerable. He barely has anything to defend.
Yeah, I think he's planning on just giving it up at this point. Starting to evacuate his workers. He's diving in to try to chase this back once more. You can really see the difference the creep spread makes here.
Yeah, again, he's just having a really hard time engaging. The Adepts are still going ham in the bases of Trifax. We're evening up the worker count. We still have plenty of Disruptors. The scary thing is not a single Disruptor has died this game, and the Roach Warren just went down.
Yeah, that means even fewer Roaches and even fewer Ravagers from here on out. And with this Colossus still standing, still acting as a bit of an anchor, Lings are not going to be enough to deal with this army.
Yeah, exactly. Lings will definitely help, especially with all these Roaches and Ravagers to support, but I spoke too soon. Another Nova goes off.
Yeah, right on the edge of that Roach army, but still takes out enough of them that Trifax can't chase back this army.
Yeah, but at this point, he's got so much here. He's got 5 of these disruptors. He's got his Colossi, which he's been able to keep alive due to the micro of this War Prism. He has taken a worker lead now, which is something that I never thought I would have to say. Biles are going to connect with the army here, but again, MaNa keeps pushing forward.
Because he can. Look at how many disruptors he has out right now. 5 of them. Even then, it's a little excessive.
A little bit. You'd think that he'd kind of diversify a little bit with like a second Colossus or something, but no, he's just
making more.
He just keeps making more and more disruptors because you can't go wrong with them. Apparently, he's transitioning back at home. We have a Forge, we have a Twilight Council. Again, we are probing up our 3rd base. MaNa is transitioning. He is no longer all in, which means Trifax is just being choked out here, stuck on 2 bases.
Pretty much. And that's the last position you want to be in as a Zerg player.
Yeah, it really is. Earlier, all he had to do was defend, but now he needs to do more than that. He is going for a Rogue counterattack. Again, he's fully aware of what needs to be done in this situation, and props to him for finding the freedom to do this, but the army just turns around, and again, the pressure isn't on MaNa to deal damage anymore. Like, the damage has been done.
And the dynamic has pretty much completely shifted on its head here. Trifax just needed to live. Or did he? Well, he's alive, but he's suffering.
Yeah, now it's on Trifax. Now he's the one who has to deal some kind of counter damage. Look at the worker differential right now. We're down to 31, even less workers as we have another Warping of Stalkers in the main base of Trifax.
So what you're saying is Trifax should pull the boys.
There's no boys left to pull, Papi. They're all dead, Papi. They're all dead.
Well, they're gonna have to find something to do because for now, they're not gonna be mining.
Oh god, no! More Novas.
Yeah,
more Novas are going to be going off. They're going to be connecting with the main army. The Stalkers across the map are still going uncontested. Trifax needs a miracle right now. He's trying to pull apart the army of MaNa, and maybe he can catch some of these key units on their own.
Yeah, the Stalkers are splitting apart from the splash damage, but that's still a lot of splash damage, still a lot of disruptors.
Yeah.
Still making them.
And there it is. GG gets called. MaNa will take the first game. Trifax doesn't even go for a final big engagement. He knows the position he was in. Oh.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to get back in. It's kind of hard to out-macro your opponent as a Zerg player when, you know, you've taken that much economic damage already. Throw in the fact that Cosmic Sapphire is a little bit easier to defend. And, well, I think Trifax just saw the writing on the wall, as did we.
Yeah, definitely. The start wasn't looking too bad for Trifax, but we saw that he took one too many Novas to the face, and I guess at the end of the day, the other kind of big killing move was the fact that MaNa was doing such a great job at like just pulling off a couple of adepts here and there and getting into some mineral lines and just forcing Trifax's attention in some of the other bases and not so much on the front lines.
Yeah. Everything in the sort of periphery was going pretty well for Trifax there, but when it really came down to that main army engagement, MaNa just set it up so well and was able to kind of bully Trifax into a corner.
I think the other impressive and also scary thing about that first game is that MaNa did that. I don't know if you noticed yourself. I don't know if chat noticed, but the disruptor got nerfed. The radius, the radius of the disruptor is actually smaller than it was before. So those Novas previously would have been even more like disastrous.
They really would have. I'm just gonna dump the patch notes in chat here so we can all catch ourselves back up. It is a very comprehensive one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of changes. A lot of them seem a little bit minuscule and a little bit niche, but like they all kind of have their own impacts that they have on the game themselves.
They really do. Looking at you, Ghost.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Oh god! Look, this is why I don't have Asher casting right now, because he would just be smoging and complaining about the patches all day.
At least they didn't touch the lurker.
I thought Asher wasn't here. Oh my god. If you're wondering, if you're wondering where Asher is right now, he's in a corner smojing as we speak. He's
Yes.
Oh.
He is laddering.
He is.
He's enjoying the current patch while he can. As we get into game number 2 here, and it is going to be on Moondance, where we're here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, spawning all the way in that bottom right-hand corner. We have our red Protoss player coming out from that land of Poland. He is, of course, going to be representing Team Liquid. He is the Purifier, question mark? That's what we're calling him with that disruptor control. Everybody get your bananas. It's MaNa.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Moondance, we have his opponent, the Polish Zerg player representing CSO Esports. It is Trifax.
I think I'm just going to keep the patch notes open in my other monitor.
You're
so
like,
I can
whenever you see a
back at
unit,
them.
you're just going to check to see if the unit was changed. It's like, okay, the Adept is fine. It's okay.
Yeah. You're like, did they know Marines?
Oh, no. Only the ghost.
They should.
They should. Oh my god. So yeah, it was definitely a very interesting build that MaNa went for in the last game. It's something that we have seen creep in current meta even before the patch. So that's why I thought it was very intriguing that he decided to do it here after the changes, because it specifically did kind of nerf his overall style there.
Yeah, I definitely have felt that at least in the past couple of weeks or in the past couple of months, disruptor openings and disruptor drops have become a little bit more common for Protoss. I did not realize, or I did not remember that the disruptor was getting nerfed like that. So yeah, just to agree with you there. I'm surprised that MaNa went for something like that, but we've seen it time and time again. Whenever something may seem like a nerf, but it's actually a buff because it makes your opponents underestimated.
Oh, true. It's a buff because that means if the Protoss ever has friendly fire, they kill less of their own units.
Exactly. Unless you get the Nova right in the center.
It also goes to show that even though there are going to be changes to some units, like older styles will still prevail and they can still work quite well despite that. I don't expect too much of the meta to change, but there are going to be certain key differences, I feel, and this is kind of a big avenue for some players to explore new changes, to explore different ways to utilize certain units. Eventually we're going to get to the Hydra of Zerg in PvZ later. Didn't really have the opportunity to do so here, but I'm sure we'll get there eventually.
Yeah, it's getting back up. Or rather, it was already getting a bit more popular, but yeah, now with these buffs that are coming in, I have a feeling it's going to be all we see in 2023.
I mean, honestly, sometimes it just takes a certain pioneer. It takes someone to take a chance to try something different, to show everyone the way. And I do think that Cyril is probably going to be the one to take the reins, especially because after he tweeted out, or after he posted that, like, he was looking at how Miyamika was playing and he was getting a little bit of inspiration. After these changes, I feel like Cyril may be one of the first to embrace the Hydra, and then everyone will follow suit. Like, I feel like that's the way that things are going to go.
Oh yeah, what did they call it? The popularizers? It was always a fun dynamic. The trendsetters, that's what they're called. It's always one of my favorite dynamics back in the day when Patience, was the one kind of figuring out these styles, but not having much success with them. But then someone like Stats or Zest would do the exact same thing, win, and then make it the meta.
Yeah. I thought you were gonna say, like, back in the day, Patience, he showed us all what not to do. And it helped, it helped everyone else.
That's what, yeah. That's actually accurate.
Not wrong. As so far, we've had a little bit of aggression here from MaNa. We had a much more standard Stargate opener here. What's important to take note of is that you can skip out on a couple of oracles on Moondance, just because you can expand as a Protoss and take your third much safer. You have basically a 0% chance that a Ling run by is going to come in and try and deny it.
Yeah, and safe is very much the name of the game right now for MaNa. Aside from taking that pocket base, he is playing a bit more. He is playing a bit more to the current meta, but much more aggressive with that forge on the way.
Yeah, we have a forge on the way for those upgrades. So far, we only have a double Oracle opener, and it's going to be looking to deal some damage. There we go. Picks off 4 drones in the main base. Trifax a little bit out of position, and MaNa's being so greedy right now. He is expanding and taking a 4th base behind this.
Uh-oh.
At the same time as Trifax is 4th.
Yeah, this can definitely backfire, especially now that Trifax is well aware that the 4th base is on the way. He's going to be sending every unit he has right now to try to lay that, like so.
Yeah, the Adepts are out of position. They're across the map. We have a recall to send them back home, but it's a little bit too late. MaNa was being just a little bit too greedy, and he's going to be forced to cancel that for it.
Like so, but in the end, it may end up being a blessing of disguise here for MaNa. He goes for it again. Okay, I was half thinking that he was getting that 4th as a bit of a fake out because he's getting a gateway explosion right now. I was pretty dang certain that, you know, considering the short rush distance of Moondance, he was gonna fake out a 4th, just warp in a ton of stalkers and go across the map and try to once again choke out Trifax, but no.
Yeah, instead he's going for a much more greedy economic kind of variation of this build. And Trifax, he can't deny this a second time. Now there's pylons, there's SimCity, the Oracles are at home. So he responds by double expanding. He takes his 4th and he starts his 5th immediately. He knows that he needs to get these bases up and running. He needs creep spread as well. He needs to try and keep up with MaNa as he goes for another run by when MaNa reveals his army.
Yeah, he needs to find some kind of way of making sure that MaNa is behind economically, and whether that's attacking MaNa's bases, or getting more of his own, both work pretty well.
Yeah, both do work pretty well. Meanwhile, the Oracles are going ham in that mineral line, by the way. 5 more drones are going to be going down, but there's no Prism with this, and when the Lings come back home, I don't know if these Stalkers will be able to survive this.
Yeah, MaNa is trying to set up a little bit of a forward pylon location, but even if he does warp in from there, they're going to be slow warp-ins.
They are going to be slow warp-ins, and every single one of these Stalkers is going to get taken out. Recall is on cooldown, by the way. It was used earlier by those Oracles, so MaNa, this is a bit of a hefty loss. We talk about this a lot, about this hero style, about the Blink Stalker style. It's based a lot around momentum. It's based a lot around kind of building that Stalker count up throughout the course of the game.
And he built it up, but now it's getting knocked down by all of these Lings.
Yeah, knocked all the way down. So now I feel like Trifax is a little bit more momentum here. He's transitioning into Roach Ling. Roach Speed just finished up, +1 melee just finished up as well. And Trifax, he's sending it.
Yeah, he's got pretty much everything he needs right now to counter the army composition of MaNa. Lings are okay, focusing on the gateway, not a bad idea. That was a kill, I believe, and not a cancel.
Oh, and you know what? Charge is definitely late right now. The Zealots aren't going to be anywhere near as useful to chase this down. MaNa is going to be able to push this away for the time being. He's going to try and reestablish this kind of proxy or this forward base outpost location. But Trifax, look at that drone count. He's done droning. He got away with that 5th base.
He absolutely has. It doesn't matter how many kills these Oracles have on those drones. Trifax has the production to just replace them each and every time.
Exactly, now we can focus on nothing but army, on nothing but Roaches and Lings. We do see a bit of a Zealot run by on the left-hand side, actually not targeting the drones, but targeting the hatchery itself, so it's going to take a little bit of time for them to really deal too much damage. Meanwhile, on the front lines, Trifax is doing an okay job at holding on.
Yeah, just barely. This late charge wouldn't hurt nearly as much for MaNa here if, you know, he was actually able to take out a base or two.
Definitely, and those Zealots on the left-hand side, they only dealt damage to that hatchery. They weren't able to kill it. We do see now MaNa is focusing on that frontal assault. He has his Zealots to reinforce. He has a decent Stalker count here. And I don't know if Trifax has enough to really hold on. MaNa isn't pulling the trigger, and Trifax is getting ready for a baneling run by.
He's going straight into that 3rd base. And every single drone goes down with plenty more banelings to spare. Meanwhile, back at home, Trifax still holding solid, still being able to chase back this gateway army.
Oh, exactly. He holds strong. Meanwhile, the Zealots do get into the mineral line on the right-hand side, but no, the Lings are quick to respond here. Trifax isn't losing too many workers. He's losing a lot of roaches, though.
Yeah, and if he loses one too many, then I think the momentum of MaNa's army will be able to overwhelm him. He needs to get his units out as quickly as possible.
He really does. He needs a little bit more time. You could argue that Trifax, he can afford to lose his space. He can even afford to lose a couple of workers here. So this is an okay loss. He's diving on top of these stalkers here. The reinforcements are trickling in for Trifax.
Yeah, once again, he has no prism. His fort warp-in location is still a little bit far back from the front line. Roach Warren in a lot of trouble again. I don't know why Trifax thinks Roach Warren in his third bases, but
I was thinking the same thing, man. 2 games in a row the Roach Warren goes down because it's in such a weird place. I question it a lot. Meanwhile, the mineral line is under threat. The Oracles are going ham. They're using a lot of their energy on these drones, but the Roaches are coming back in.
Now here's a question, Light. Did MaNa waste his Oracle energy on those drones? Because now these Oracles are out of energy. They're completely useless against the counterattack of Trifax.
That's the thing. Here we go. We have a forced recall here. MaNa's going all the way back home. Those Oracles did cripple the economy of Trifax. Bear that in mind. 2 mineral lines died in the past couple of minutes. So now all MaNa has to do is defend. But without the power of all these Oracles, will he be able to defend?
That's definitely the question here. As long as Trifax is able to take out a base, or potentially even 2, then him losing 2 mineral lines isn't going to matter that much in the long run.
Yeah, and here we go. He's trying to dive on top of these stalkers once again. The Oracles do activate their pulsar beams, but they just don't have a lot of energy available, and Roaches are very tanky. Once again, though, he is being forced back.
And not without taking out that 5th base, though.
True, 5th base went down at the same time as Zealot Runby on the left-hand side. Queens are here to defend. Zealot Runby is going to be cleaned up, but this actually forces Trifax all the way back home.
It really does. I was going to say it forces him to make a lot of Lings as well, but then I realized he didn't have a Roach Horn. It was taken out.
He only just now restarted it, so this entire time he can only make Lings and only make Banelings. This is a little bit disastrous. We can't even morph into Ravagers, but a nice move here from Trifax. He slips in just as MaNa moves out, so he's going to be able to buy a little bit more time for that Roach Horn to finish.
Yeah, he may only be able to make Lings, but he has a lot of Lings.
He does have a lot of Lings. Meanwhile, Baneling run by in towards the natural base of MaNa. He's getting into the mineral line. Ooh, he's able to take down a handful of workers, and now he's going for a mass counterattack.
Yeah, that was a kill, and not a cancel at that 5th base location. By the way, Trifax doing such a good job of splitting MaNa's army in 2.
That was a brutal move, Command. A little bit of mispathing. A lot of Lings just went down for free there, so this is still quite close. The supplies are quite even here between our players. Trifax trying to pull off another Baneling run by, but it gets spotted here by the Zealots, and look at all those Oracles. Yeah,
and these Oracles do have just about enough energy, it seems, to take out enough Banelings. Very quick retreat of the workers as well.
Yeah, I guess what I was pointing out is that MaNa hasn't stopped Oracle production. He has another on the way. Like, he's just... the amount of Oracles in the skies is something you don't see too often.
Something about MaNa, man. He just commits hard on one unit these games. Game number one, it was the Disruptors. This game, it's the Oracles.
He just loves his balls, okay? It doesn't matter if they're on the ground or in the air. They're amazing. And here we go. He's pushing in once again. But Trifax has been able to stabilize for the most part. He was able to find some room to drone, and now he's going to be going for another mass around. Ooh.
Yeah, despite the fact that Trifax has lost two hatcheries here. Look at that worker difference.
Yeah, the worker difference is huge. The army supply difference is there as well. As you just pointed out, though, Trifax did just lose 2 hatcheries, so he doesn't have a lot of production here, but he actually gets us around. Oh my god.
Yeah, completely full surround on top of these stalkers. Forced to blink back, but they blink back into creep, so even more of them will be taken out as they try to recall.
Yeah, and this is where I have to question the commitment into these Oracles, because imagine if these Oracles were Void Rays instead. I understand the Oracles do very well against Lings. They have so much DPS available to them, but a lot of them are running out of energy, and now that's basically dead supply for MaNa.
They really are, and he's already behind when it comes to the supply. Our supply, does an Oracle take 2 or 3?
I believe it is too, something like that. Here we go. The Oracles, they activate their pulsar beams. He's trying to focus down the Banelings as best they can. Archons are being morphed in as well. There are no Ravagers with this army, so Trifax is being forced back once again.
Yeah, MaNa proving that battery overcharge still busted.
It's still pretty good. Oh my god, he's able to hold the line there for a moment. Archon's going to do amazingly against the Lynx and the Banelings. We still have more Oracles on the way, by the way.
This is going to be his 9th.
Yeah.
That's 18 supply out of 77 right now worth of Oracles here for MaNa.
Ay, that's a lot of supply in these Oracles, and again, every fight is hurting him that much more. Trifax, he just needs the larva, he just needs the production, then he can commit to these big fights and go for another run by. The Lynx are slipping in.
And they will be able to bust on through. Shield batteries are good, but not that good.
Not that good. There are actually no probes to kill. The Lynx, they get into the main, they pick up a couple of probes.
Yeah, and you know what? They force the Oracles to waste energy again. There's only one Oracle. That only, my mistake, 2 Oracles that can activate Pulsar Beam right now, and even then, it's not for long.
They just can't do anything right now. We have Storm on the way, which is great. High Templar being morphed in, that will help, but Trifax is maxed out. He has re-established all the bases that he lost earlier. His drone count is relatively healthy. He's even working on some hive upgrades.
Yeah. That's adrenal glands. That's about a quarter way done right now. At this point, I think Storm is just too little too late. Trifax at any point could just switch to Mass Roach and make it a moot point.
He really could, and here we go. He's pulling the trigger here on the left-hand side, trying to break down the fresh mining base of MaNa. He desperately needs another Nexus because he's slowly running out of resources in general. Meanwhile, these Banelings, he's been so patient with them. Now they're rolling on in.
Yeah, connecting with not quite the High Templar like he would want to, but they do at least soften up the gateway buffer for these Archons.
Yeah, and the Nexus goes down. At the same time, we see a Ling run by getting into the into the natural base as well. Zealots are going to help stem the tide, but no, the boys are pulled.
Yeah, that's pretty good drone drilling, honestly, from MaNa, but even then, he's going to lose a couple, and he cannot afford to lose even a single probe, considering his position.
Really cannot. And Trifax, he's here with the second wave, with the third wave again. Because the economy of Trifax has been left alone for the past couple of minutes, he can focus on nothing but producing this army. And MaNa has been struggling for the past couple of engagements. My heart breaks every time I see these Oracles.
They're like, retire us, Poppy. It's like, no, you work till you're dead.
They're like, we're useful, I promise. It's like, are you there? Oh my god.
We have no energy.
Another massive bailing run by headed towards the third base, and oh, okay, it is stopped before it gets into the middle line. Trifax, though, he's not stopping at all. He moves in with his roaches. He takes down the cyber core. Only Zealots can be morphed in now, which is pretty huge. MaNa has to replace that as soon as possible.
I was gonna contest what you said there, but because the Templar Archives are still alive, but then I realized MaNa doesn't have a lot of gas mining either.
Yeah, he's running.
He doesn't have a lot of any mining, to be fair, but
he doesn't have a lot of much going on right now, and 3 Archons go down for free. A questionable counterattack there from MaNa to split up that portion of his army, and now he's looking weaker and weaker as time goes on. Storms are not looking too bad, but we need more than Storms.
Yeah, we need these Oracles to activate Pulsar Beam, but they can't.
Yeah, we just need a little bit more DPS here, more than what we really have. We're down to 4 Archons and 7 Stalkers, and Trifax, he's taking this very carefully. He backs off, and once again, the Oracles are out of energy.
Yeah, 4 Archons, 7 Stalkers, but let's not forget, he also has 9 Oracles.
True. If only there was a way to somehow regather that energy. Look at this, the Oracles are on top of a mineral line with no spore. They can't do anything.
They want to. It's in their eyes.
It's in their nature to kill drones, and they can't even do that. One of them is going to be able to pull it off. Meanwhile, a Ling run by the left-hand side is going to be able to pick away at what little economy MaNa has left. And Trifax, I mean, the doorway is open to even get into the main.
It really is. I mean, these Lings have been able to slip in. I say slip in, but it's not like that was much of a wall to begin with.
Yeah, they just...
Oracles are trying desperately to defend.
They're doing what they can on the front lines. The Roaches once again just power on forward, focusing down as many of these Archons as they can. A lot of respect to Trifax. He hasn't been tempted to morph in too many Ravagers. He's been very conservative with how he uses his gas to try and morph in whatever Banelings he can and rebuild his Roaches. And GG gets called.
Trifax gonna tie up our series and take us to the ace match.
Wow.
1-1.
GG. Trifax going toe-to-toe with the best Protoss player in Poland, one of the best players, period, in Poland. And that's pretty impressive because Trifax, he's a little bit more underrated. We're familiar with him. We've casted plenty of Polish-only tournaments over the course of the couple of years that we've been lucky enough to cover them. But to the wide international audience, Trifax is more of like a niche name.
It really is. I mean, he only really started to make a bit of a name for himself, I think, 2-ish years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere along that time, playing in a lot of these online cups. For a while, I guess he was kind of considered to be a ladder hero, but now I'm really glad that he is able to break through that a little bit.
Yeah, like, this is a really impressive result to take a game off of MaNa. Like, Trifax has always been in, like, the lower end of the pack in Poland, just because there are so many good players, like your Christianer, Geralt, Spirit, Alazer, MaNa, Papi, Ziomek. Like, we can keep on going. There are so many players in Poland, and Trifax, he's looking to prove himself here.
Yeah, and he absolutely can. Or rather, he's starting to.
Yeah, again, not very easy taking a game off of MaNa. But we'll see how things end here with the ace match.
Yeah, once again, this is not... Wait. This is neither the... Wait. I need to double check real quick.
This is the round of 16.
This is the round of 16. Yes. No, wait. I need to check what if EU does it the same way, because I heard for a while that whatchamacallit, because I remember. Yes, okay, so every match is a best of 3 except for the grand finals.
There you go.
Yes, there we go. I remember for a while there was a really weird period where in Asia, for some reason, the players still wanted to have best of 5 semis, but then they realized how much of a bad idea that was. It's okay. I'm back. And I remember. Anyway, we are going to be concluding our best of 3 series right now on Inside and Out. We're in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, starting all the way in that bottom left-hand corner. We have our red Protoss player coming out from the land of Poland. He is going to be representing Team Liquid, the lover of balls. He is MaNa.
He does love them balls.
Ball enjoyer.
And spawning in the top right hand corner of Inside and Out, we have his opponent, the Polish Zerg player representing CSO Esports. It is Trifax. And Trifax.
Yeah.
Go on.
No, I was just gonna say, and despite Trifax being a little bit more of the more unknown player, I gotta say, I think just because of how both of them have played out this match, my eyes are a little bit more on MaNa this time, just because it does seem like he's the one who is a bit more willing to test things out in the new patch.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I'm sure MaNa is fully aware that he is the favorite in this series, so because of that, we saw him execute some questionable moves last game, right? We saw the Giga Fast 4th Nexus, for example. We saw him commit into Mass Oracle as well, and I don't blame him because Trifax isn't necessarily a high-profile player in his own country, and they're very familiar with each other. But I feel like especially after that last game, MaNa has to be looking to take things a little bit more seriously, looking to respect his opponent quite a bit more.
Yeah, or he should anyway.
He should. He should.
Less of these balls, is what I say.
We've seen the Mass Disruptor, we've seen the Mass Oracle. What other Protoss balls are we missing is the real question.
If you think about it, Archons are like balls of energy.
Oh yeah, 100%. They are.
And they did get reworked. I wouldn't say reworked,
They
but
got slimmed down.
they did get adjusted a little bit. They did. They're not so thick anymore.
Yeah, smooch.
I mean, they're still massive, but
they are. They're still. They still look big, but on the inside, they're a little bit more slimmed down.
Whenever they pass a gap, it's like they suck in their gut.
Yeah.
Or they go on tiptoes. So
they
go on tiptoes so that they
I wanted to add that Trifax, again, for a long time has been under the radar in the Polish scene. We've seen him in the esport tournaments for the past couple of years, you know, having some middling success. But I want to say that this year, specifically a couple of months ago, he really impressed us. I think it was myself and Kuro. We were casting the most recent esport event, Esport Winter 2022. And Trifax actually made a laser sweat in a ZVZ. And we were really shocked. We were like, oh my god, like, a laser is actually struggling here against Trifax. And Trifax could have even won that series. He just had a couple too many mistakes. He got ahead, and then he looked a little bit nervous, and he just kind of fumbled it a little bit. But after that esport event, like, I'm like, yo, Trifax, he's kind of coming into his own here. I don't know if he has more time to practice nowadays. I don't know if maybe he has like just more motivation to improve, or something else changed. I'm not too sure. But yeah, he's just been improving definitely recently.
Yeah, especially in that ZVZ matchup, and now it looks like he's proving in the ZVP matchup quite a bit as well.
Yeah, and we'll see if he can overcome what failed him before, because MaNa, once again, he's going back to what he did in the first game. He's going for another Robo Opener with a Bay follow-up.
Yeah, he's researching Warp Prism speed as well. He's getting those disruptors out as quick as he can. Trying to fake out Trifax once again a little bit here, trying to make him think this is a Glaive to Depth opening. We know it's not.
We know it's not. Does Trifax know? Well, this time he does have an Overlord in position to scout. He hasn't gone yet. I'm a little bit kind of afraid for him, because he hasn't really confirmed what he's playing against, especially because a lot more adepts have been morphed in by MaNa, so he's trying to sell a story right now. And as a result, Trifax, he did make a massive wave of lings, but he's not overreacting too much. He's still droning. He's still taking his gases.
Yeah, he has a Roach Warren, but he knows that there's no reason for him to invest too much into Roaches. Not yet, anyway. Warp Prism comes in.
Oh no! Ooh.
And okay, not too many drones get taken out there. Pretty good split from Trifax.
Yeah, I have to kind of scold MaNa a little bit for that. 2 Novas only got 2 drones there, and I do think he could have diverted the attention of one of them to get a little bit more damage. So great reactions there from Trifax, and now he's fully aware of what he's up against. Now he knows it's just like the first game.
Not again.
We'll see if he can adapt, and if he's able to respond in kind here. As the Novas go off once again, but they just haven't really gotten the damage that they really need to. And now Trifax is at a pretty good worker count. He's making more Roaches. He's looking to get ready to push out across the map.
Yeah, Galao reconstitution is underway. His economy is looking so healthy enough to sustain that. I was gonna say, you know, these, for the amount of Novas that was sent out, there hasn't been a lot of damage yet, but losing those queens hurts so much.
Oh yeah, 2 queens just went down. The Prism almost fell, and it would have been huge. He would have completely shut down this opener if he had gotten it, but the Prism just barely manages to survive, and now MaNa is pushing out. He's got 3 disruptors. He's got his Colossi, very similar to game number 1. But the biggest difference is that this Prism is looking quite hurt here. If at some point Trifax is able to snipe it, he will be stopping the reinforcements.
Yeah, MaNa really needs to be a lot more careful when it comes to his Warp Prism. I definitely agree with you there about how taking out the Prism would have just completely changed the dynamic of this game. It might have even been GG at that point.
Yeah, and it still could be. Meanwhile, another Nova's going to be going off here, just connecting with some queens. They can transfuse. It'll take 2 Novas to kill a queen. Meanwhile, Lynx try to catch the reinforcements, but they don't quite get them.
Yeah, they distract the army a little bit, but hasn't quite been able to, force anything major. Trifax really wants to sneak into a base or into a mineral line with these things, but he ain't getting it. Great force fields coming out here from MaNa, basically locking in every single queen to their demise.
Wow, so many queens go down for free. We do have a surround, though. Novas are going to be going up, but the roaches come in from behind, and now MaNa has to commit to a fight.
Yeah, and that was a good enough split from Trifax that he doesn't take too much damage from the Novas. One of them will connect, but there's still plenty of roaches. The Colossus falls! And now there's nothing stopping Lings from flooding into the heart of MaNa's army.
Yeah, that was a massive engagement there by Trifax. He may have lost every single one of his queens, but it was worth it for the surround, for that insane engagement, and now he's going for a massive counterattack. We do see MaNa has eyes on this. He's going to try and flank him with some disruptors.
But unfortunately, Trifax was paying attention. He is able to split up his army right at the end here. MaNa is able to pick off a couple of roaches here and there, but it's nowhere near enough to stem the tide.
Yeah, we do have an overcharge being popped. Trifax is going to be respecting this. He will back off until the overcharge runs out. Meanwhile, without a Colossus, we don't have that consistent splash damage available anymore. Lings are going to be that much more useful. And again, I do think that this game we are seeing on display the nerf to these disruptors. Their Novas they aren't anywhere near as powerful as they once were.
Yeah, I just keep imagining if the radius was just slightly larger.
Yeah.
How much more damage would MaNa have been able to deal? But evidently, not a whole lot.
Yeah, exactly. As another Nova goes off, only getting one of those roaches. Gets 0 with that one as well. And now the Novas have run out. Up.
And he is just going to lose Disruptor after Disruptor. One Nova will pop right in the heart of those roaches, but with these nerfs, it no longer only takes one.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it takes one Nova to kill a roach, but again, less roaches did end up falling. We do see a couple more Novas coming in. MaNa, it looks like he's barely holding on. Trifax, he's trickling in whatever reinforcements he can. He's trying to break MaNa.
Yeah, Trifax's targeting isn't that great right now. There's not really a way for him to break MaNa. I was thinking that MaNa would be in a pretty good position to counterattack, but then I looked at the army supply difference and realized Trifax has not droned at all throughout this entire engagement. He got up to 61 Lings, and now he's good. He's done.
Yeah, and now he's trying to transition, which is a late transition. He's going into a hive as we speak. He's getting a 4th base. He's even taking a 5th as well. He's trying to take this lead and get away with it, but MaNa isn't going to take this lying down. Once again, he comes across the map with more disruptors.
Yeah, but once again, you know, with how puny the radius is nowadays, it's not really finding a lot of drone damage with him.
Yeah, so far, again, Trifax has been doing a great job at responding and splitting away his drones, minimizing the damage every single time. MaNa, likewise, though, look at the worker count. He is ahead economically, and he throws down 2 forges.
Because he can afford it.
Up!
Oh. Oh.
Yeah, in the top left-hand corner, 2 Novas go off, half the mineral line goes down. I want to say 8 drones just went down, so finally some economic damage is being dealt here by these disruptors. 11 even.
My math might be wrong there.
It's all good. More Novas are going off, so oh my god, the queens are going to be falling. Even though Trifax shuts down the stalkers on the right-hand side, he's struggling a little bit more on the left.
Yeah, the big thing for Trifax right now is that he just doesn't have anti-air that can really effectively threaten this Warp Prism. It's still so low.
Yeah,
but Trifax just can't kill it.
From the beginning of the game, it's been low, and it's still here in the top left-hand corner of the map. It can be saved by Recall. There we go. Recall is going to get it the hell out of there. Finally, we have a little bit of anti-air. We have some Vipers on the way, which can use their parasitic bombs or blinding clouds or abducts. They are going to be quite important when breaking these heavily robo-reliant armies.
Yeah, especially if he's able to yoink some of these disruptors as their mid-nova.
Yeah, Vipers honestly really just shut this down if there's no counter to them, specifically some High Templar for feedbacks or even, you know, some Stalkers being in position. At the same time, Trifax goes for a massive counterattack, and the base on the right-hand side was left completely exposed.
It is going to go down, and MaNa knows that he can't win a base trade. He already used his recall earlier. He's forced to turn around of his entire army and fight in a very, very unfavorable position.
Yeah, and the Lings are getting on top of the Disruptors as well. There's just a little bit too much Zerg. MaNa forced to fight in a really awkward position. His army was completely split up and he's losing everything.
All of his units are just pinned to a corner, and this is before the Viper comes into play.
Exactly, this is exactly what Trifax really needed here. This time he's able to focus on the Disruptors just before the Novas go up. That was the fight that he needed. He caught MaNa completely out of position with his pants down, with his pants gone. And MaNa, he's down to 1 Disruptor and 1 Colossus.
Oh, that's nearly enough. 1 Disruptor, 1 Colossus, and practically 2 bases right now, considering how mined out the Natural and the main are.
Exactly, and even though we had a decent purification over there, it's not going to be enough here to stop the Zerg. The Vipers finally... the Vipers come in. We saw a yoink on the Prism, question mark, and a parasitic bomb on as well. GG gets called.
And Trifax will be able to prove himself in ZVP, taking that series 2-1.
Wow.
Very ballsy.
Very ballsy from both players, from MaNa and also from Trifax, for being to stand up to it. GG, well played. Yeah, I mean, honestly, that game did come down a lot to positioning there. Trifax, especially with that first major surround that he got on the first push of MaNa. But we were kind of talking about it at the time. I have to wonder how that would have happened if those Disruptors were a little bit more effective for MaNa. Would have been able to have taken that fight, or at least traded better enough to be able to hold on from that counterattack. Ever since that surround, though, MaNa had a really hard time, and yeah, it does go to show. I don't want to say that that this build doesn't work with the new patch. Like, no, clearly it does. But it does mean that every single one of your disruptors or your purification overs have to be that much more impactful, and they have to be. More attention has to be placed on them.
They really do. You need to be a lot more diligent with them. You need to, like you said, just really put a lot more care and focus when you're sending out your purification nodes, because where previously, you know, sometimes it will only take 1 Nova to shut down an army. Now it takes like 1.5 or something like that. So you got to make sure that every single Nova counts.
Yeah, we can't be too frivolous with them. We can't be too trigger happy with them as well. And yeah, GG, well played. Trifax is able to bring down MaNa. MaNa, of course, a very historic player in Poland. He's been around for a very long time, very successful as well, and still in his prime. Recently, actually winning the eSport tournament. I believe he did anyway. So yeah, it just goes to show that not just that Trifax can go toe-to-toe with the best of them, but, you know, like, again, this is just a really, really solid result for him.
It absolutely is. I was just double checking. That's fun. Real quick there, but yeah, it absolutely is, and I think that you know, in these past couple of months, Trifax, like you said, has been doing a really good job of just sort of proving himself and improving himself as well, so much. I mean, he wasn't quite able to take out a laser, but he was able to make him sweat quite a bit in their ZVZ. Now that he's actually able to take out, now that he's actually been able to take out MaNa, I think this just really bodes well for him in the next season.
Definitely. Like, so far he's proven himself to be able to take some games and take some maps. Now it's all about consistency. Can he really do this on a more regular basis? Can he become a more established name, not just in Poland, but also in all of Europe? You know, we'll wait and see. Personally, I'm excited. I'm always excited to see Zerg players have a little bit more success, especially because Poland has become pretty Protoss dominant. Like, you know, there's a lot of memes about it, about the pink Polish Protoss posse. You know, there's Protoss as far as the eye can see.
You're telling me. I remember my heart shattering when I casted the group stage of eSpot Winter, and none of the Terran players made it to the playoffs.
Yeah,
there weren't that many Terran players to begin with, to be fair, but
Yeah, that's the thing. Like in Poland, it's just Spirit, you know, and for a long time in Poland, it was just a laser as well, you know, especially after Nurcio retired.
I was just gonna say, there used to be Nurcio,
Yeah.
but he was the only. Apparently, he was the only player stemming the tide of Protoss, because once he retired, we got Art started popping off. You know, Christianer started popping off, Geralt as well. All of them being led by MaNa.
Yes, yes. The wave of Protoss was upon us. But yeah, it's really cool to see Trifax, you know, proving himself here, and I look forward to seeing more of Trifax in the coming weeks, in the coming months. But now,
coming years.
In the coming years, Papi. But now we are going to be having a look at another series still in the round of 16, the final series that we're going to be casting of the round of 16. We're not going to be trying to cast everything. Let's not get too crazy here. But we are going to be getting into Radata versus 4Jimmy.
Oh!